Oh, confidence beats a smart man. Absolutely.
Basically, yeah.
Confidence beats a smart man.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10.
Because the audience want to be entertained. All right. My name's D-Rad MC. Welcome to the 30th incarnation of the Vibe Union Vibration podcast.
Perfect.
Before we start this conversation, I'd just like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land. We'd just like to extend our ultimate respects to the traditional custodians and elders past and present, and acknowledge that sovereignty was never ceded.
Sweet. I guess we kick this off. I thought we'd start off keeping the questions kind of vague so we can snowball the conversation down. The main topic of conversation would generally just be rap itself and why we're all accustomed to rap as an idea of culture and a lifestyle. So I thought we'd start with D-Rad because you've had the most experience out of the lot of us. What got you into rap? What was the birth of rap for you?
I was blockading forests in Tasmania, like protesting, sort of full time for about 5 years, and I just got to a point where I had all this extra emotion to vent, I guess, and also the stuff that I wanted to express wasn't socially acceptable. I guess I started realizing that if I created a scenario where I was on stage expressing my views, then I would get applauded for it rather than vilified or arrested for it.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
I'll pass that same question on to you, Pence.
Well, I mean, I don't know how in depth you want me to go, but I mean,
go nuts with it.
Go deep, mate.
I think as a kid, I've always had a passion for writing. My passion for music didn't come until a bit later, but I kind of got introduced to hip-hop at a very important moment of my life where a lot was going on, and I was kind of in a dark spot, and I latched onto the music. It kind of just spoke to me, and then once I kind of found out that my brother was a rapper, that really inspired me, and then I found out that this is something I could kind of get into, and it could, fuse my passion for music and writing and to give me an avenue to self-express. And yeah, it's an amazing thing.
Yeah, wicked. Well,
how about yourself?
For me, it was weird. I started off being quite interested in rap at a very surface level when I was young. Probably I'd say 7, 8. Got introduced to it through my mother. My mother was a big Eminem fan. And I kind of it started off there more, I found myself more immersed in the culture than actually trying to rap myself. I wasn't trying to write nothing. I wasn't trying to make music, any rap kind of music. I was just it was nothing I was accustomed to, living in the fucking suburbs of Melbourne. So I feel like when that changed for me, when I was I want to be a part of this and to create something musically, rap-wise, it came from writing really low quality basic poems that I didn't feel could trickle down into something musically, but I found myself continuously accustomed to rhyming stuff because I'm saying this in a very, very humble way, that I had a very good vocabulary. So it was I was fascinated by making words rhyme together in different schemes and syllables, real syllable heavy words and stuff like that. And it just sort of came to a spot where I used to smoke a lot of marijuana, a fuckload of it, and that would mean I would listen to rap and I'd look through these words and study words, and I was like, what if I put that here to a beat? And it kind of snowballed. Some alchemy shit, and then, that's kind of how it happens. I guess what I'm interested in is, considering we all started off at such different times in our lives and different levels, to try and go through as much depth to how you guys sort of progressed and got further into rap and why it sort of encapsulates you now. So again, I'll throw it to D-Rad. If you got any kind of theory as to why you've gone down this road, say it.
Yeah, I guess, when I lived in the forest in Tasmania, in the Upper Florentine, I had like a dictaphone, a tape player, and I had like 2 tapes. I had like a punk band, Leftover Crack, and Dead Prez.
Hey.
Right, you guys know Dead Prez.
I can see that a lot in your style.
Yes.
Yeah.
I literally learnt to rap like previous to being in the forest, before I was really into rapping. When I lived in Wellington, I learnt the whole Let's Get Free album like off by heart. Like I could quote in any conversation I was in at any day, I could quote something from that album that was relevant to life or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, those flows and Let's Get Free album really like introduced me to like the physical art of rapping, you know?
Yeah.
Like kind of physically getting your mouth around like a verse. What was the question?
Just more so like seeing how you've started to how you've come into rap now and how it kind of encapsulates your personality in a sense. Right. What's keeping you here? What's drawing you here?
Yeah.
In the vaguest sense.
Right. So so like the beginning, I was like a political activist, and I was drawn to like rappers that could convey kind of complicated or complex political ideas and make it sound dope.
Right.
And now I'm more into artists like Pharaoh Monch and Jean Grey and like Black Thought, who obviously are like still political, but are more about just like authentic, like creative, like expression, like making something like just dope, something really creative that has an underlying message, but is just more about like the art form, you know?
Yeah. And how are you finding these guys? Like where are you finding this music at this time in your life?
Where did I find Pharaoh Monch?
Yeah.
You know, like I was working in Yindamu in like the desert in Australia, a remote community, and actually Monkey Mark and Alf Transporter, who are like Melbourne heads, they were doing hip hop workshops there. Yeah. And I already looked up to them because of like Combat Wombat, whatever. And I just pretty much cornered them. I was like, I need all the music that you have. I was like, I've got some USBs or whatever, like, give me everything. I didn't know about Pharaoh Monch. Like, they thought it was crazy that I was into KRS-One, but I didn't know Pharaoh Monch. And they gave me a bunch of shit, including that. And that really, I guess I was just hungry, you know, for, like, new stuff. Yeah. And that's got me pretty inspired. And then, like, to this day, like, listening to Pharaoh Monch is just like it's dope for me because he's so far ahead. He's like an alien, you know. He's so far ahead of like everyone that's alive. Yeah. That like even in that one artist, there's like limitless inspiration, potential. Like, oh, I want to try to bend a word like that one day. Yeah. Kind of thing. That's what really makes me like thrive on it now. Keeps me here. Is just like seeing how you can push the envelope, you know? Just how dope can you make something sound? Yeah. Basically. Yeah.
So like with that, I feel like everyone sort of found, like, especially if you've been in like listening to rap for a long time, everyone finds their like pocket of like what kind of artists and what kind of sound they like out of the rap genre itself. Are you saying more so with guys like Pharaoh Monch, it's more about the way to make rap an artistic expression, like the really like the nitty gritty depth, how to bend a word, how to bend sounds and syllables? You're more seeing it from a more technical standpoint than anything else?
Kind of like when I like my urge to write a song is like having some unexpressible like feeling, and then I want to like translate that into words. Yeah. But then because we're rapping, like, you know, there's a beat, so make the words like ride the beat. Yeah. And kind of bring it together like a puzzle, you know? I guess I have this theory that like if I write something perfectly, if I'm trying to articulate something that's authentic and I write it perfectly, then it will rhyme perfectly. Yeah. Like it'll flow. Like at high school I was really into Shakespeare because I realized that all his sonnets and plays and stuff all kind of had a rhythm to them. Yeah. And that was like the true art of what he he was conveying emotion and like meaning through words, but more so through like the rhythm of the sonnet.
Yeah.
That's interesting. You picked up on the rhythm and you had an interest in that before you really got into hip hop.
Yeah.
You were noticing that in Shakespeare.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool to have those link, like that correlating to your sound and the way you see raps in itself. That's fucking wicked. With that, like as well. So, obviously, we've had this conversation before in another form, out of context. We've had this conversation before. Essentially, what I want to know is, so you were talking to me a lot about sort of the idea of rap purity, rap puritans. And I want to know, seeing how you think about raps and where you place your syllables and how you like to mould full bars worth of the same syllable if you can, but still keeping the energy of the sound. When you first started writing and rapping to like now, how do you see your progression? How hard was it at the start to actually do that, to put your thoughts to paper and to mould it to the syllables, to get to that point where you're seeing yourself almost in a light that you're looking at these guys like Daylight and Pharomonch and you can almost be like, all right, I'm coming into that sound.
Yeah, man. Like when I started, I just sucked. Like
We all did.
legitimately, like I like my intent or my like my main drive was to convey like some sort of message primarily before I was trying to flow. So like I was offbeat, like I wasn't even like, I mean, to be honest, it's still something that I have to be conscious of, like make sure you listen to the beat when you record this.
Right.
And when, you know what I mean? Because I get really caught up in just like the meaning of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and the rap Puritan thing. Oh yeah, so like, yeah, so I guess I just sucked for ages, and then like, but I've just done it every day for like, you know, the last 7 years basically, and like just kept a really high standard of, like I have the rap rhyming time machine, which was like took me like a year to write, and it's like I was never going to sacrifice on the content and the substance, but I was going to keep writing it till it sounded dope. Yeah. I guess that's my...
So you're someone, the way you write, you're going to come to it and perfect it as much as possible. You're very perfectionist-y when it comes to writing your raps.
Yeah. Like I just edit. I spend, 95% of...
So you dissect your shit quite regularly. It's kind of like when you're writing something, you're really trying to pick it apart, mold it to the best of your ability.
Yeah, and now that I'm recording like in my room, I'll record it and hear it back. And once I've heard it 3 or 4 times, I'll be like, oh, that one word that I've got, that needs to be a bar. Yeah. Like that needs to be drawn out because I'm missing a bit of meaning there. Like there's something more that can be extracted from that. And I want to get it. I mean, that drives me crazy because this track I've been writing recently, it's taken too long, because I keep doing that. So I have to eventually find that line, like, when do I just cut that off? But that's my instinct, just to keep breaking it down and like algebra, It's like trying to find...
Like a science.
I guess it's like backwards algebra, because algebra is about finding the simplest expression of an equation.
Yeah.
And for me, I guess I'm trying to draw out all the substance.
So you're trying to complexify rather than simplify, in a way.
In a way, yeah. But also I look at words like equations as well, though, because it's like...
it's formulaic.
Yeah, and like in a word, like say you've got like a 4-syllable word like perception or something, like within that word there's lots of other words or like beginnings of words, and that kind of like, if you use the word perception to start writing 8 bars, like if you just broke that word down to its like etymological root, then it'll just be a perfect rap,
That's in the previous podcast I featured on Vibe Union, I kept referring to that the concept that I see writing as a puzzle, and it is because there's formulas and there's different combinations of fitting things together to try to make the best product, and that's what I find so entertaining about it as well.
Ultimately, this is both of you. Do you guys almost conjunct your raps? Like to a point where, like, obviously if you pick the word like perception, are you taking like the perception, looking at the different ways you can weave those 3 syllables into the next couple lines?
Yeah. But
Are you seeing it in that pattern?
But
kind of form?
to be honest, in all honesty, it's gotten to the point for me where the words would just float into my mind. I don't have to. I don't think about it consciously. Like, okay, well, I need to start thinking of words with that match those syllables.
Yeah.
Words will just fly into my head that will match them.
So a clear demonstration of the contrast between you and you would be that you're looking to dissect, perfect the rhyme the best that you can, whereas you're trying to keep the flow pattern continuous. Is that what it's like?
Is that right?
I'm not sure.
Like, so I'm trying to articulate that
Sorry,
correctly.
Try
yeah.
again, sorry.
Ultimately, like, so how do you go about your writing process?
Well, like I was kind of saying, I think, I don't know, things just come to me when I hear a beat. So words would just kind of fly into my head. And in terms of dissecting rhymes and matching syllables and everything, it really depends on what I'm trying to do at that moment in the song. For example, there might be a time where in the verse I'm trying to get really technical for that sake, to kind of have fun with wordplay. But then there might be a time where I'm going to sacrifice that for the I don't know, for the joy of creating a clever punchline. If I could do them together, that's great, and I'll often like challenge myself to do that. But you know, sometimes you might go on a technical path and try and match up all these syllables and stuff, and then you kind of take that back a bit, and then you can give yourself a big lead up to like a punchline, and that can like hit harder. So I don't know. There's just different ways of doing things. But yeah, does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, like just more so like, because it's cool to see where people sort of more go free form about it, and then people go very, very in depth with how they write.
Yeah.
I'm someone that doesn't put much depth to the process because I don't think I'm at that ability. But what I will do is I have this like this. It's hard to articulate in a way. It's like I'm looking for sounds. Like when I hear a beat, I think about a syllable that I like towards the sound. Like if I'm hearing a song that kind of has more of like a lower tone or something like that, and I like the syllable of like awe, I'm trying to find words with awe in it because it's molding to the way the track hit me when I originally heard it. So I'm going to write and put the lyrics on course to that syllable. And just trickle it down. So it'll syllable, and then I'll see how it molds and still makes sense, that I can sort of build a story around it. I find most of the time the story's going line by line. I find I'm not weaving a whole story throughout the whole verse. I'm going line by line, telling you something else, telling you something different, which is a pretty juvenile, novice way to tackle that sort of situation, which I'm accustomed to, and I'm happy about that. But I find it's cool. It's cool to hear the way you do it, D-Rad, in a way that's like you're really seeing it like a formula and a pattern, because that's not something I'm accustomed to. So to hear how you do it, just like, I guess the question is more so like, how are you getting to that point, and do you have tips and pointers for someone to be able to do something like that and to see the raps like that?
Right. I'm just concerned that we're not recording again.
Technical difficulties. Fucking a bloody technology, mate.
Oh, it is. We're good.
Are we good?
Yeah, it's all good. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So, how do I...
Tips on how to approach writing the way you do.
Can you articulate like how you're visualizing where you're putting these words and sounds? And like how you determine where you're going to put something? Yeah.
So like it's kind of ironic, I suppose, but something that really helped me was listening to MIA.
Ooh,
because she's a really simple lyricist.
Yes.
And I write complicated because it's more natural to me.
Yeah.
Like I envy simple, like people that can write simple. Like I used to, the punk band Minor Threat.
Ooh, yeah, okay. Yeah, deep cuts.
You're wearing a Fugazi t-shirt, so...
Fugazi. Yes.
Fugazi. Come on.
Gabagool.
Yeah, like I when I was a punk, like I was like, man, how does this guy just write these really simple statements? Like he says exactly what he means, and it's just done. Like, that's crazy to me. Like, that's something I envy. Anyway, like, listening to MIA, it made me realize how, like, a sentence in a song doesn't have to be structurally correct for the feeling to translate.
Yes.
Because when I was first writing, I was trying to write too much, like, complete sentences, basically. Or, like, I was sacrificing the flow for trying to get, like, like a written message out.
Yeah.
But then listen to MIA, and there's another artist who was similar like that for me. Was like, made me realize that, like, you can write, so it's almost like if you were to read it, it wouldn't even make sense. But when you perform it, you translate it. And I guess, yeah, like trying to get that feeling. I don't know, man. Because for me, writing complicated was normal.
Yeah.
So then I had to really learn to write like a bit more simple. I don't know. I don't, it's funny, yeah. It's like trying to explain to a fish how they swim. Like,
yeah. But I can relate to that in a lot of ways because I felt like that's because my influences were guys like Doom and Earl. So when it came to that kind of stuff, like it was like I was used to listening to semi-complicated. So when I tried to translate that over to the sound that I wanted to hear, right, and process myself, I found that I was overcomplicating the shit and losing the flow and the actual musicality of the song in the fucking process of doing so. So I found that I needed to simplify my shit so I could bring the ability in because I didn't have the ability to do that stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't have the ability to condense those raps and to make it sound on point, to stay within the flow and musicality of the song.
Yeah.
It would just sound jagged, out of place, too much, too soon, almost like word vomit. It sounded like word vomit. And then putting myself in a point where I drew myself back and was kind of writing a bit more like...
So in drawing yourself back, did you kind of have to change who you were listening to a bit to kind of...
Yeah, definitely.
So who
Definitely. What I found, I found helped heaps is listening to new wave artists because they weren't my cup of tea, but a lot of these guys are done freestyle. If you listen to a lot of these trap rappers, they're going into the studio with very little and just going off vibe, right? Like just whatever comes up to their head, which I personally not a big fan of, but to have that energy, like what I started doing is I started listening to a song, and before I would even write, I would just record me just bullshitting onto a song to sort of see if I could catch something. And then eventually what I'd do is I'd like find a word or a sound or a syllable that fit well in the tempo of the song. And I'd be like, all right, that's where we start the writing process from.
Well, I kind of do that off the mic. So like just hearing a beat is I'll kind of be freestyling in my own head. Do you guys do that?
In a way.
In a way.
I feel like I have to vocalize it because I lose it.
Yeah.
It goes out of me.
That's
but
fair.
Yeah. Do you do the same thing?
Yeah, you're talking about kind of like scatting or like mumbling a flow.
Well, not even flow, sometimes words. I think, yeah, because when I first hear a beat, and I'm curious to hear if it's the same for you guys, a flow kind of probably will come to me first, and then for some reason words will jump out to me that will sound nice in that flow, and that's kind of my starting point.
Yeah. But you're doing that internally is what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't do it out loud.
Yeah, mine's external. I do the same process, but it's externally doing so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think before I learnt to freestyle, it was all internal.
Yeah.
Like everything was internal for me.
Yeah.
And then as I learnt to freestyle, that just became like a physical. I remember like trying to basically learn like moving like the processes from like up here in my brain to like my throat.
Yes.
And be like, just let it come straight out.
Do you find it comes more naturally to you now? Like, do you find like freestyling is just like bang? Or does it still kind of have that disconnect between the brain and the mouth? Because freestyling boggles my mind.
Really?
Completely perplexing to me.
Because writing is freestyling. Like writing is freestyling. It's coming from somewhere.
But I've got time to edit it. Do you know what I mean? When I'm writing, it's like I can almost do over. Whereas you have to catch the beat again when you freestyle. I mean, if you go on a cappella, I guess it's a little different. You got time to breathe. But
Yeah.
when I see you guys fucking do that shit, the first thought I think about is how are you stopping excess words from filtering in the way and then it getting caught up in your mouth and saying two different things at the same time?
So the thing that's the element of freestyle that's harder is the self-consciousness.
Yeah.
Like, it's like the fear of being judged or the fear of saying something inappropriate.
Yeah.
So once I let go of that, or once I kind of came sort of to a sense of peace with myself,
Yeah.
that I could be on stage and I'm going to be happy with whatever sort of ruthless stuff I say.
Yeah.
You know, like.
So you see it as less a mechanical problem and more of like almost an anxious issue.
Yeah, it 100% is because you're talking, right? Like we all freestyle, like sure, like good rappers have like refined the art of rhyming and constructing like narratives on the spot.
Yeah.
But that's nothing that like a 3-year-old can't do. I mean, not the rhyming part, but like the constructing a narrative.
Yes.
And thinking of words.
Yeah.
Maybe not a 3-year-old, maybe a 5-year-old. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see you.
It's like, but yeah, for me, freestyling as well is like splitting your brain up into separate sections so that you have one section saying the rap and the next section of your brain will be running through, say your rhyme scheme ends in like obstacle. So then you'll be running through the alphabet, like A, B, C, D, like obstacle, bobstacle, cobstacle, dobstacle, popsicle. You know what I mean? Like through the whole alphabet, just scanning for words that like are going to be useful later.
Yeah.
And then you'll get like 3 or 4 good ones. You'll be like, oh, sweet, I'm good for like 4 bars now.
Oh,
Does
so
that make sense?
there's quite a pre-planning process for you, in a way.
In the moment,
Yeah.
You'll be like vibing, be like, oh, I just said Monopoly. And now like you're like, okay, thematically I'll be like, hey, what's like on topic with Monopoly?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll think of some like Microsoft or like Bill Gates or some shit.
Yeah.
But if I'm just thinking about the rhyme, then it's just like, I can't think of any rhymes right now. But you know what I mean? Like duopoly, fucking...
Lottery.
Yeah, lottery.
Philosophy. Yeah,
Philosophy.
Philosophically. Well, yeah. But like, so you're almost like stacking them.
Yeah.
When you said something, you're almost scanning your brain for what's going forth, building it up, bang, end rhyme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Fucking hell.
I've got a few issues with freestyling. For me, it's a mechanical issue and there's a bit of an anxiety issue. But my anxiety issue is different. It's not about what I'm gonna say. It's like an internal thing where it's like I can't do this. Like and you start doubting yourself, and therefore you can't think of anything.
Yeah.
That's only been a thing that I've able to kind of start to push past within the last year or so. But the mechanical thing for me is actually I can do rhymes easy, you know, but it's making coherence between the rhymes. Like, you know, I agree with what you say, Monopoly, boom, all right, cool, I have 3 words in my head. But like it's
lead-ins. You're thinking about the
it's
lead-ins?
Yeah, it's the bulk. It's between the rhymes.
So you're like, okay, you got your first line. The first line's easy. You just make it up. And then you've got the rhyme word. You got the rhyme word, and then you think of like a stack of rhyme words here.
Yes.
For me, like the bit between the rhyme word and the next rhyme word, you just make that up. Like, it doesn't necessarily, like, whatever you say is going to work out.
Yeah.
Like, whatever combination of words anyone says ever, the human brain is going to translate into some sort of meaning.
So in a way, you're almost consciously forgetting the lead-in part, but consciously stacking up those end rhymes. In a way, am I saying that right?
It's a paradox, right? Because it's like one of my like mentors saw me freestyle. It's like you have to stop thinking.
Yeah.
Because it's true. Like spirit or whatever you believe in will take over. It's the flow zone kind of thing.
So letting go method.
Letting go, letting go of like the fear of failure, basically.
I completely agree with
Just
that.
let it happen. Like our bodies like hold the stories of our ancestors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there are stories in our bodies. So if we just like let go and relax, basically, the most beautiful genius possible will come out of us. Like, you know, so my problem with like the education system in the West basically is that it convinces children that they're not capable until they've been told they are capable by an authority figure, you know? But if you can liberate yourself from that and be like, no, I am I, you know.
Yeah.
It is like I am the story. I'm here like delivering my story without overthinking it.
Is that a shared sentiment with you? Like, do you find that if you let go to a certain point that you find the words flow through a lot easier?
Yeah.
Like, if you break that barrier, it's just like, all right, this is just really, I'm really in my bag now.
Yeah, definitely.
That's crazy.
Definitely letting go of it more, and you can find yourself doing it without even really noticing. And I was going to say, like, think about how many times where you might be tired and you're in a conversation with someone and you find yourself just like replying without even really noticing.
Fully autopilot.
Yeah, autopilot. But it's about being comfortable as well. And so I freestyle my best when I'm comfortable, and I'm not downing myself, and I don't have the pressures on me. So yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also like it's a muscle, right? It's like a fighter has to be good enough that they can win a fight on their worst day.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So if anyone can freestyle when they're like, when everything's perfect. You know what I mean? But like something I challenged myself to do early on was like force myself to freestyle when I'm like walking home tired, or like when I'm physically exhausted, or when I'm doing something else. So I'm practicing splitting my brain up. Like I'll be washing the dishes or something like menial, riding my bike, but having to watch for traffic and like freestyling, you know?
Yes.
So it just starts like strengthening that muscle where you can be like running multiple tracks in your brain at once and they're not getting disrupted.
Yeah, right.
I do the same thing. I freestyle while I'm at work all the time over whatever's playing over the speakers, and also like when I'm in the shower in the morning every day, just keep improving.
Yeah.
Yeah, dope.
I found I've done a really, I've done a bit of a
Mischief.
a bit of a mischievous process where I got really used to doing craps. Do you know what I mean by that? Like craps is like I'm not actually saying words, but I'm just flowing bullshit. So like when I hear something, it's kind of like, again, it's thought that I but I'm not saying nothing. I'm not saying nothing. And I got so comfortable doing that shit that when it comes to actually breaking it down and doing freestyles, I'm not saying words. And it sort of cuts in between.
Yep.
So it's like I've strengthened the wrong fucking muscle.
You know what else I will want to say about freestyling? I completely agree with that. I used to do the exact same thing.
Craps, man.
Yeah, craps.
The OG amateur move. Yeah.
I think with freestyling, especially if you're performing, because that's something I'm getting into at the moment, is performing with freestyles, is confidence to trick the crowd and yourself is key.
Oh, yeah.
Because that reminded me of a story where
You become an illusionist at that point.
It reminds me of a story where I was at the TOF, and what happens is they have an open mic band. This is in Melbourne, and so in the CBD. And so anyone can just go up to the open mic with live bands playing and sing, rap, whatever. And one time I was quite under the influence and I got pushed up by my friends, and I was just like, all right.
Best way to start.
I just crapped on the mic. I was like, blah, 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 blah. But I did it with such conviction and confidence. Everyone went, oh!
You get the energy,
Yeah.
I had people buying me drinks afterwards. I'm just like, I wasn't saying anything. It was just nonsensical gibberish. But
man.
Conviction.
That's my fucking life.
And now, one more thing, is now when I'm on stage at the dojo, I'm making sense, but I'm selling it to the audience and I'm selling it to myself. For some reason, when I pump myself up, it makes me believe in myself, and it almost sounds scary because like you're betting a lot on yourself, but it makes me think clearer and it makes me back myself, and therefore I perform better as well.
Do you find it disintegrates like those gaps where you'd need to crap? Do you feel like now, like the confidence is sort of,
I crap in different ways now.
Right.
So I don't crap by gibberish, but I have. This is kind of like breaking my illusion a little bit. But there was like a few combinations of different words which my mind implicitly chucks into the middle of rhymes.
Oh, you got go-tos.
I've got a few things that I just chuck in. So if you listen to my freestyles, there will be a few phrases that you'll pick up that I say all the time.
And the thing is, every freestyle artist has those, but the better they get, the more like imperceptible they are.
Yeah.
Or the more like complicated, or like,
Because you can change the avenues of where they're coming from the more you practice them.
yeah, like that. You've all both seen that Black Thought freestyle of Hot 97.
But that was written,
You think?
the 10-minute one, yeah?
It can't be pure written. I feel like he's coming with shit in the bank, sure.
He's
like
freestyling.
everyone is.
I think he's freestyling.
But dude, it's Black Thought.
I know it's black. I know it's black though.
Somebody's dead in the car. It's probably one of yours, writing all across the windows and the walls.
But like the way how intricate all the syllables, like multi-syllabic rhymes and everything, and still coming with these same. I felt like it was a written, but maybe not.
Yeah, look, ultimately we can't bloody know, can we? But to think that someone can get to that level is crazy, because we've seen people get
That's
to
what
that
I choose to believe, at least. I choose to believe that, and that, like, I mean, it was perfect, so I can see people's argument that it was written, but because, like, I know Black Thought's like a playwright, and he's been in the Roots for like however many years. Like the Roots are the longest existing band of all time, longer than the Beatles. Like, he's had the experience, you know, that he's not going to be like, all the things we're talking about, like lack of self doubt, or like lack of confidence or whatever. Like, he's not dealing with any of that. He's like, I'm the fucking Don Dada. You know what I mean? Like, he knows he's the best.
He embodies the shit.
And he wanted to make a point. Like, yeah, maybe it was written, but like, my point for that was that, like, he would have, assuming it was a freestyle, there would have been filler in there. But it's just that to us, we can't tell what the filler is, because he's such a good writer that his filler is, like, to us, like a great bar.
And the fucking flow is seamless too. So yeah. That's the penultimate.
Yeah.
Penultimate, the ultimate with the pen. You're consulting it.
Penultimate, like the Ultra Lord. Get that for real. But yeah, I mean, going off that, I guess. Whoa.
Can I say one other thing?
Yeah, please.
Before I was rapping, I liked hip hop, but I didn't understand the ego element of MCing. Like, why MCs always saying, "I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best."
Braggadocio side of rap.
That's what you were saying before. Is like, you tell yourself, "I'm the fucking best ever," and you convince the audience, or like one person in the audience, a couple of people in the audience, and they're like, "Holy shit, he's the best ever," and then they start feeding that back to you, and then you feed it back to them, and it creates this.
And it's just energy.
It's energy,
and
right?
That's what I love about hip hop so much. I want to pose the question: do you guys, how do you think? What do you think about hip hop's competitive nature? Are you kind of all for it? Do you think it has drawbacks? Do you think it's unnecessary?
Look, I think I come from a spot where I see music as a form of therapy, so it's hard to have it at a battle aspect, which I'm sure you guys concur. But with that, the competition behind rap strengthens people to get better, but not only strengthens them to get better, but it helps you see the flaws in your design and get better. Like I just said, and just said in a different articulated
manner. Not only
manner.
does it help you get better,
but not always, man, because a lot of people will be like, they're pretty amateur artists, but because it's competitive, they fall into like brag, and it's just like a template. They don't actually think about it. It's not necessarily a motivator.
So you're saying like it doesn't break them down?
No, I think for some people, the competitive nature manifests itself into just kind of like making people believe they're top shit and like rapping about it, but it doesn't actually necessarily push them to get better. I mean, for the people who care about the craft, it will.
Yeah.
But because there's such an influx of amateur artists and stuff, that's not the same for everyone. People, and there's just inherently competitive where they'll be like, well, you know, like they're always comparing each other to others, but they're not necessarily will be pushing each other.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Yeah.
I find that like the issue with competitive rap solely from like a surface level evaluation, that I constantly see people in battles specifically, that it just becomes a violent fuckfest. Do you know what I mean? It's always like shoot you, kill you, fuck your mum, fuck your bitch. And I get it. But like,
it's always about fucking someone else's girlfriend. Why don't you fuck your own girlfriend?
Like, where's the elements? Like, that's what I mean. Like, when I see it, like, kind of as, this sounds real snobby, but like to see it as like a form of art, where it's like, I'm judging the better MC based on what they can do with the words. Like, I don't want to, like, funny is funny. Punchline and setup, that's fucking good shit. Like, especially if you can, like, you get the whole fuck your bitch in, but you say it very cleverly.
Yes.
But
yes,
at some point, why can't you dismantle someone based on the game itself? Like, you guys are both rapping. Dismantle the person's character and whatever's
You know
cool.
why most battle rappers don't do that? It's because it's very hard.
Absolutely.
And because part of battling is basically like you're playing the audience like an instrument.
Yeah, it's crowd control, isn't it?
You want crowd reaction. From my experience, man, my first battle in Melbourne, I wrote some very complicated shit.
Yeah.
And no one got it.
Just wasn't.
And the dude I was battling wasn't writing simple either, but I'd say a simpler bars than me. And he got more applause. And what I learned from that battle was that I should have written some complex shit, but I should have written some ultra, like some stupid simple shit.
Yeah.
Like, your mum's fat kind of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because something about it that people like. And who am I to deny that? Do you know what I mean? That was my revelation.
You got a fucking point. Yeah.
There's something beautiful about a simple insult.
You know who's, I think, the master of all this sort of thing, of just staying simple but having all this sort of conviction and using braggadocious rap and everything is KRS-One. Like, oh my God. Like, he's a king of battles, but he's not like the most intricate sort of complex rhymer, but the way he sells himself, and he does come from things like creatively, but like not in a very sort of intricate way. I
find the same with Jules Santana. You know, Dipset fans?
I've
like
heard
Cameron, Jim Jones.
Oh, Cameron, I know.
Those guys.
Yeah.
Like, Jules Santana has that thing of like, it's braggadocious kind of rap, but he does this, he's almost funny as shit. It's like a comedic kind of slap on it because he does the whole G'd up thing, like, I'm pimping, blah. But he'll get you with these lines that's fucking hilarious. Like, I wish I had an example, but it's like, he'll be like, you Joe Rogan and I'm Hulk Hogan. Very, very simple shit, but it's enough to be like, one's a pleb and one's dope. Do you know what I mean? So you kind of have this, you can simply throw out something, use referential kind of humor and still rope in the crowd and still have like a pack a punch kind of thing. But it's simple. You're saying like 4 words. That's not like difficult to comprehend. It's not syllable based or overcomplicated.
It's genius in its own right because of its simplicity.
Yeah.
And I used to be obsessed with an English battle rapper called Lunacy. Satan, he would do the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
And he would win over a crowd every single time, and he would do it with his humor. And it wasn't always the intricate sort of bars. He's a great rapper, don't get me wrong, but he knows how to use it to win a battle.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's been my problem in the past is like kind of handicapping myself with my desire to be complex. Like, I don't know as well. My first battle was in Brisbane, and I felt like people up there were just smarter. Like, the listeners were smarter, so they were getting it. They were getting what I was saying as I was saying it. And then in Melbourne, it seemed like the battle scene was just less intelligent. And that's like part of it as well. Like, you've got to... it's more like comedy writing, but you kind of... it's, as opposed to a joke, you kind of order it to be a punchline.
Yeah.
But it's like you have to be able to read the room, you know, if you're talking about battling.
Yeah.
But that's what I like about battling too, because if you can, like, performing, everyone's generally encouraging, like, being like supportive, you know. But if you can battle and be comfortable in that scenario and then go perform to a supportive audience, then like it'll be so much easier.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to try battling.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too, at some point.
Let's do it.
I mean, I'm just at the point where, again, I have no fucking shame, dude. I'll bomb if I want to. I'll bomb. I don't give a fuck. Like, that's how you learn, man. That's how you fucking learn. Like, I'm not at a spot where I know that I can dismantle a better opponent. I'm not at that spot. But the thing is, it's not out of a lack of confidence. That's out of a rational take of my own talent. So I look at that and I go, yeah, well, but I see what works. I'll see what doesn't work. And I'll go back to the script and figure it out.
I think you have tricks up your sleeve, though.
I have tricks up my sleeve because I got stupid shit to say, and I think that can bolster the crowd control.
You know how to sell it. Yeah.
I can sell it. I can fucking sell it.
You can sell some shit.
I can sell fucking ice to an Eskimo, I swear to Jesus.
And the self-awareness you're exhibiting, but from that statement, is head and shoulders above most battlers aren't necessarily good. They're just dumb confident, like Pence was talking about.
Oh, confidence beats a smart man. Absolutely.
Basically, yeah.
Confidence beats a smart man.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10.
Because the audience want to be entertained.
Fuck oath.
You know what I mean?
And
it's
what's entertaining?
Like some fucking
confidence, embodying the energy.
Big dick swagger.
If I'm smart, if I got intelligent bars, but I'm hitting you with the like, I'm kind of nervous about it.
Definitely.
I'm fucking bombing. But if some guy's saying some stupid juvenile shit like, "Yeah, mum's a twat, have a bat," if he says it funnily, we're done.
Yeah.
Done. Funnily ain't a word. But yeah.
An example of that was a battle. One of my favorite battles was between a British MC, Lunacy, against American Una Laves. Both really funny. Lunacy is the better rapper, but Una Laves was just saying his things with such confidence and bravado that he had the crowd just like completely in his palms as well. And yeah, you know,
That's how you get them.
classic example.
Yeah. Well, taking it to a recording standpoint, do you find, and this goes out to both of you, just take the floor when you want to, when it comes to your own music, do you find that you come back to the same themes or ideas between what you're recording, or do you find that it kind of just goes pretty breezy, laid back, random?
So when you say recording, do you mean performance or do you mean written?
Yeah, like
we're recording.
You making your music, right? Do you find that you're coming back to the same themes and ideas?
Yeah.
A lot of the time? All of the time?
Yeah, I think I have like a little collection of themes that I find myself constantly dipping into. I mean, maybe not if I'm writing stories and stuff, which I'm trying to do more these days.
Right.
But I feel like there's certain things that have inspired me and appealed to me that I replicate through my own music, and also things that interest me in general, like more sort of delving into more introspective sort of topics and philosophical sort of topics.
And what are those topics that you tend to go back to the most? Are you conscious of them?
Brag rap's a big one, you know,
Brag raps.
just because one of my favorite things to do is just come up with creative punchlines and stuff and to mess around with wordplay. And when you don't have a topic, it just gives you the most room to do that. A lot of people, it's interesting that a lot of people don't like that or don't like to delve into that, or they get lost in that because they don't have anything to ground themselves on. It's like, no, I need a topic. I've worked with a lot of artists like that, but for me, I'm like, nah, like if you tell me that you want to do a song with me and there's no topic, I feel most comfortable because I can just have fun with the beat. But in terms of like actual topics, I mean, existentialism and stuff like that.
So the philosophical approach.
Philosophical approach, yeah, definitely. And doing that, when I do that, I tend to approach it with more of a poetic sort of, perspective and approach, writing style.
Yeah. Do you right?
When I first started, it was just like processing some trauma I had from the police and like forestry in Tasmania. So it was just a lot of like, fuck the police.
So you're taking it strictly from real life events? Almost.
Kind of, yeah, basically. Like, I guess trying to make it poetic or deep in a sense, but those were my go-to. If I was like, I don't know what to write, and then I just write something, it would just be like some fuck the police shit.
Yeah.
And I guess I wrote a variety of different fuck the police type songs, you know what I mean? Like with different like approaches, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, at the moment it's mostly like battle oriented bars is what like motivates me.
Right.
And like venting anger.
Yeah.
I guess.
It's like the energy of it all.
Yeah. And I guess I'm, you know, at a stage of my life where I'm like processing a lot of like disappointment or like accepting reality for what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, just I guess the same as you, like philosophical type, just like fucking with ideas, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got another question to ask, but you can add to that if you want to before we do that.
No, hit me with it.
It was because you know everyone expresses themselves through their writing. How direct is your self-expression to yourself? Like a lot of people will just hit the nail on the hammer and just be like, well, I'm going to write about exactly what I'm going through and I'm going to express myself through that. Or sometimes the expression is more through metaphors and like hiding behind poetic tones. So they're expressing themselves. It's coming through the writing, but they're kind of like approaching it indirectly. And then sometimes they'll express emotion they're holding on, but do it in completely unrelated way. So like just say coming up with punchlines and stuff. And like if you're feeling angry, you can do it in an aggressive tone, but you're not actually expressing the specific things you're feeling. Does that make sense to you guys?
At this current point in time, the stuff that I have written probably within the last month or so, and there's been a few, I found has been the closest to like, this is absolutely me and what I'm doing and what I'm thinking. But because I'm not necessarily someone that does a lot, but I think a lot, it's more about what I'm thinking about than what I'm doing. So it almost blends into a metaphorical response because you're not necessarily experiencing what you're thinking. But with that as well, like mine's always been the conscious raps, and less about conscious about like a worldly consciousness, but more about self-consciousness, self-awareness raps, because the only thing I really understand how to write about that's going to be real shit, that I'm not going to be talking shit, is about just the stuff that I think about, and it tends to come back to the same thing, hence the question before. But I found when I started off, I couldn't do that shit. I couldn't mend like that link between my emotions, who I am, what I was actually doing, into the raps itself, because I didn't feel like I had the words to be able to express that. I couldn't articulate in that way. So it started off heavy metaphorical. It started off where I'd have an idea that I could express and channel those emotions through, and I'd just take that idea and run with it almost like a theme. But less storytelling, more, it was just like tidbits. It was like using those words to express that concept that I was dealing with.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
I agree with that a lot.
Yeah.
I'm very similar. There's only been a very few times where I approach whatever, if I'm expressing a certain thing, that I'll do it completely head on.
Yeah.
And I know what you mean about these particular songs that you're talking about.
Yeah.
I typically will express things behind metaphors and stuff because it becomes it's more natural to me. And it's kind of weird to say. Well,
and you've got more to play off.
And also it's something about, I don't know. The words don't come to me. Like you said, I can't necessarily articulate things directly, but for some reason, expressing myself through the wordplay, and I think it's just because that's just my style of writing. Been so long, it just comes a lot more naturally to me.
But you do, right?
Yeah, I struggle with direct statements. I kind of feel like I have like the point I want to make, and then I explore around it with metaphor.
Yeah, like
It's like I'm trying to. It's like my all my metaphoric writing is trying to find that one phrase, like trying to like journey towards the point where I have that one phrase that says exactly what I think.
Yeah,
but I don't know what that thing is. You know.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I found like the biggest thing with rap, my influences came from people that were doing that same kind of thing, that were talking about themselves and what they were seeing and what they were experiencing. That was the heart of the rappers I fell in love with, like Guru from Gangstar, Earl Sweatshirt, of course, and even like if you go through like J. Rue the Damager, someone that uses metaphor to explore concepts that he's believing and thinking about. Like You Can't Stop the Prophet being, he set up like a story about characters that are different emotions and traits of his personality. And it's like, that's exploring yourself, but he's doing it in a very roundabout fashion. So seeing that, I applied that kind of mentality to my work, because that was the stuff that drawed me in, because I was like, well, I ain't banging, don't have guns, not a violent person, not fucking bitches, not making a lot of money. I don't have that general surface level go off. I don't have that go off. So I was like, I'm not going to be that guy and push it off that way, because I would be talking utter fucking shit.
God, and I used to do that a lot, like, because
But you're almost pressured into it, are you not?
As a teenager, like, I used to love Mobb Deep and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like that inspired me. And like, I wasn't like rapping about, like hustling on the
like
corner.
You're not cripping for real.
No,
you're not
but
cripping.
like a lot of my bars were like quite violent, that nature. And it's a facade. But like now I'm trying to encapsulate that energy and bring it into another sort of realm. Like one of my bars on a track we're working on, Valentino's, is, black tape around the SM58, grip is rusty. Okay, so that captures the energy of like, some like violent, gang violence sort of things.
Yeah.
But I'm relating it to something that's true to myself, like black tape around the microphone. And I'm kind of using that as a metaphor for the music, which is something that I can connect with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I feel like, because I have a lot of interests in some of the more violent and aggressive style of rapping. I guess you could call it gangster rap in a lot of ways, because I listen to guys like Griselda a lot, and they're big influences on me as well. And even guys like Crime Apple. That sometimes you want to encapsulate that anger that you've got within yourself, but you're not exactly on that clip. Like, again, I'm not rolling down no block. I'm not holding it down. Like, it's not like that for me. Yeah. But like to express my own aggression, like pent-up regression, I tend to... I use aggressive bars without directly coinciding a violent theme. Yes. So like yelling vex with my foot in the door, yeah, my energy raw, yeah, that kind of thing. But it's like, I'll talk...
Those are universal concepts.
Yeah.
They're not just for people...
It's energy.
...living under gang violence.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, those are concepts that since Shakespeare's been writing about that shit.
But I tend to do this thing where I'll express fighting words, but in a manner where what I try to do if I'm expressing something of fighting words in the raps that I've written, I try to follow it up with a more self-aware response of being like, yeah, but I don't fight. And I do that a lot. I'll find what I'll do is I'll write a fighting bar and immediately put it in a spot of just like, I fight for my right to rap. Yeah. So it's like, dude, I'm not posing for nothing.
I don't fight, but I'll spice up your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I don't fight. Because
Yeah.
I'm not a fucking fighter. But I'll have violent thoughts like anybody else.
Yeah.
You'll have those situations when you run into those people, you're like, I want to punch his fucking head in.
Like, I want to kill that person. I want to kill...
It's like, I want to kick that motherfucker down a set of stairs.
I'm going to quickly Google, find out where your parents live and go fucking...
Exactly. Start getting real with it. Just like,
I'll kill you.
Vibe Union doesn't condone violence, folks.
We don't condone violence. Just rip out the throat.
We're not cripping.
We're not cripping. Or blooding. Not cripping. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But the Black Panthers, man, we're all about that.
Oh, good Lord.
You know, right? Because, like, the Bloods and the Crips came out of when the CIA and the FBI destroyed the Black Panthers.
I thought it was directly coinciding with the crack epidemic, wasn't it? It was TERF. Wasn't it based on TERF?
Sure.
Money disputes? At least that was like rolling 60s and Peru, maybe. I'm not immersed in gang culture enough to be able to accurately represent that.
Right. I mean, I'm sure all those things played a role in the dynamics of those gang cultures. But
are you saying it stems from Black Panthers?
Essentially, the Black Panthers were like a revolutionary movement that got taken down by the FBI had a program called COINTELPRO, which infiltrated and assassinated key members and also created infighting within the leadership.
Or
and basically that's like a popular theory or common theory that was a gang basically, but it was like a highly conscious gang that was like, we're going to arm our people and protect each other from the police.
Yeah.
And that degenerated basically, probably alongside the crack epidemic, into Bloods and Crips.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Experiment out to become the actual thing of it all. Yeah, I see. That's interesting. I'd never heard that before. I'll look into that.
Look into that. Look up Huey P.
Huey P.
But I mean, Huey P was a crack addict. He was the founder of the Black Panthers, but he got shot. He got killed basically by a crack dealer.
Oh, bang. Christ. So not even assassinated. It was just like a sketchy drug deal gone wrong.
Just he was apparently, this is what I've been able to look up and find out, was that after the Black Panthers, he was still alive. Well, after the Black Panthers had been basically taken apart, he was just rocking around I'm Huey P, give me free drugs. You know what I mean? Just kind of fucking shit up.
Some guy was like, no.
Eventually, it was you've gone too far. Yeah. But that's a very sad end of who I think is one of the most revolutionary people of our era. But also, it's dope because it's he was just a person. He was a real person with flaws, and he legitimately was I'm sick of this. I'm going to point a gun at a cop. If a cop's going to point a gun at me, I'm going to point a gun at a cop. You know what I mean? I don't know how we got onto this.
Yeah. All right, tangents are acceptable. Let's keep the ball rolling. We got questions.
Who's inspiring us at the moment and why?
We'll trickle down.
Trickle down economics. Who inspires me, man? I just saw that I saw a promo for Daylight and Loaded Lux battle.
Oh wow.
Boy.
Just the idea of that happening just like fries my brain, man. I'm really into Loaded Lux. He dropped a couple of singles recently.
You heard his track Seasons? I think that's one I do know that I'm a fan of.
Right, I'm not sure.
Could be a
by
completely
name.
wrong title. I don't know.
Yeah, right. He just wrote like a general diss to like the battle community, which DNA responded to. But yeah, Loaded Lux. Who am I even listening to?
Just quickly, did you guys see the Disaster cannabis battle?
He was telling me about it. He was fucking telling me. I haven't got around to seeing it yet.
Disaster.
Still over my head.
God.
Yeah.
This dude, man. And cannabis. Oh, anyway. Because
Cannabis
I love
hilarious,
cannabis,
dude.
but he dropped the ball.
Oh.
But anyway,
He dropped
I
it.
digress.
Yeah. Dead Beats. I'm inspired by Dead Beats. Australian rap crew. I don't know. Come back to me.
Gosh.
Crime Apple, man.
Crime
I mean,
Crime Apple.
me and Journeyman have been getting really deep into this dude. He's a Colombian American guy from out of New Jersey. He's kind of affiliated with Griselda. He's over the last 2 years, he's done an album with DJ Muggs from Cypress Hill, who I'm also a massive fan of from a production standpoint. And this guy, he's just him and like Mac Homie are two MCs I respect the hell out of, because they are just artists to me in the truest form, where they're taking the things I love about boom bap hip hop and they're reinventing it with a new flair, and they're doing it in such creative flows and energies, and just some of the things they say. Like Mac Homie has a great way of saying really off kilter stuff in just wildly different tones, and it just hitting really well. And Crime Apple was just a beast at wordplay and harnessing aggression and his braggadocious sort of aura. And every time I listen to like a track by either of these people, I'm just gobsmacked. And yeah, very inspiring.
I mean, what brought me into the whole idea of rapping was our sweatshirt name dropped him 100 bloody times. It's because it just fit for me. Being a rather moody person, it kind of fit for me well. So he's always been on repeat.
Can you elaborate a bit more? Like what about El Sweatshirt? Like, maybe describe his style a bit.
This is the thing, because I didn't dive into rap the way I did until I actually started rapping. So my only affiliation towards rap wasn't a lot of artists. Like I was listening to guys like A$AP Rocky, Denzel Curry, like really surface level mainstream rappers for a while. The deepest I would go would be guys from the classics like Big L and Big Pun, right? Doom, those guys. Still names, you know what I mean? Still fairly big names. Earl was that guy that was kind of like, while I was going through my anxiety, my depression, and other various mental health illnesses, right? This was a guy that was speaking about it in his own way, in a very clever manner, in a highly poetic manner, with crazy linguistic ability, that was able to share that story in such a way that wasn't directly in your face. You hear that song, you don't exactly know what he's saying, but you dissect the lyrics, you look into it, the more you listen to it, the more you pick up something, because there's density to what he was saying. And the idea of being able to like flip stuff into double entendres, triple entendres, or to be able to say something so direct, but in a manner that was kind of like you're just leading it into the next bar. I was absolutely bloody blown away by that, and I hadn't heard anyone rap like that. The guys I heard rap like that, again, more braggadocio types or gangster rap types that, you know, it's like, it's cool as shit and you're very much into it. But I wasn't like bopping to L. I'm listening. Like I'm sitting there going, like a form of therapy.
Yeah.
So to hear that influenced me, because I was like,
Love that.
I used writing as a way to kind of deal with stuff that I didn't think I could say to people or didn't even know how to particularly say to people, right? So me being a kid that's been in therapy since I was about 11 years old. I got used to articulating my emotions, not necessarily other things. So to be able to bring articulating emotions into rap, he was the first person that I actually listened to that actually showed me how to do it. So that was the thing for me. That's what brought me in. It was just like, okay, I'm trying to convey what I'm thinking about and feeling every day. And this guy does it in a way that's not sappy and pedantic. He does it in a way that's actually pretty bloody cool. So I'm like,
hella creative.
This guy for me.
Yeah. I don't know. You might find this interesting. Are you familiar with the Lost Poets? Oh, Lost Poets, maybe. It's like they were in the 70s, and they were kind of African American revolutionary kind of spoken word kind of group. Then they put out albums and stuff. And Earl Sweatshirt's father was in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and then
that's what I love, man. The family tree shit about this. That's dope.
Yeah.
You have to send me some links if you
absolutely
have some. I guess my favorite artist, the person who really inspires my style more than any other artist, is Jean Grey.
Cool.
Do you know Jean Grey?
No.
Female MC from New York.
No. You gotta link that through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a beast. Yeah, she's like one of the best lyricists of all, like not the best lyricist of all time, but she works with Pharoah Monch, or has in the past. Like,
she doesn't get her props. Like, she gets left out of the conversation a lot.
She does.
That's a story for another day.
She does, but like not as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like kind of what you were saying before as well about like kind of weaving the real personality and the real emotion.
Yeah.
Like I honestly feel like I know her. Like I'm aware that I don't know her. As a person, but I think I do.
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I mean? Like
100%.
And she's a genius. Like she's done like a little sitcom. She wrote a book. Like done all these albums. She produces a bunch of her own stuff. Like she's
entrepreneurial.
Yeah, exactly. She's like a whole creative unit, and she also markets herself like, I'm a superhero, and I rap. And if you like rap, you'll like my rap projects. But if I do a project that isn't rap music, you don't get to pigeonhole me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I love everything about her. Like, Jean Grey. She's really who helped me like inject aggression into my like rap persona.
Yeah.
Before that, I didn't really. I hadn't really seen an example of like aggression that. Like a lot of rap is aggressive, but it didn't necessarily seem justified.
Yeah.
Like, why are you so mad?
Like it was just a tone thing.
Yeah, or just like an expectation. But then the way that she would like detail her stories is like, I'm mad for these exact reasons. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, Jean Grey definitely helped me kind of form my style.
Yeah. Who brought you in?
Yeah, I was
Like
going to ask that as well.
What inspiration was just like, I want to rap?
Okay, so there's kind of two. Tupac was what got me into rap, like, heavily.
Yeah.
Because, like I was mentioned at the start of this podcast, rap was presented to me at a very important time in my life, and that was through a Tupac CD. But what made me want to rap was hearing Beware by Big Pun. I heard that, and I was just like, oh my God. Like,
Hearing what?
Beware by Big Pun.
Whoa. Do you know it off by heart?
Nah, I know
On
like
the spot.
I can do that, that bit from Twins, but nah.
Yes.
All good.
Are you familiar with the track?
With who?
Are you familiar with the track, Beware?
No.
Ooh.
That's why I wanted to hear it.
Yeah, I'll put it on for you later.
Yeah.
It's heavy. Like the beat's crazy, and he just comes with this force and the energy he commands. That's a big thing I look for when I'm listening to music for some reason. Is I'm a really chill dude, but like I love some like heavy energy in my music. And don't get me wrong, I listen to lots of really chill stuff as well. But in terms of hip hop, I think it's just because it's just forceful. This energy behind the expression, And anyway, I live for it. But yeah, that was a big one for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you?
Mine was a weird mix of a couple songs. Like it wasn't even an artist. It was a couple songs that I listened to. I was a bit of a video game head as a kid, and I was surrounded by sort of not necessarily underground rap, but semi-underground rap. Like one of the first raps I ever heard was A Day at the Races by Jurassic 5.
That's a great song.
Like, amazing song and an amazing group, right? Like, actually delving into it, like, Carly Tuna's one of my favorite voices in all of hip-hop.
Yeah,
but,
it's
like,
crazy.
I remember playing these old Def Jam games on, like, PS2 and stuff like that, and then I found... do you guys know Mike Jones? Mike Jones.
Yeah, then I know.
There's this
know the
song
name.
called "God Is Sewed Up" and "M.O.P. Annie Up."
Oh yeah,
I heard those.
that was
songs.
my favorite rap song as a teenager.
I didn't know rap could be like this.
Yo, M.O.P. is my favorite duo in hip hop.
Seriously, like, how do they do it?
Oh.
Hit 'em.
They just riff off each other so well.
So fucking
the
good.
energy and Primo's production for like 50% of their catalog.
Oh, for fuck! It bangs. It bangs.
It bangs so hard.
So like that, but then like there was Pete Rock and CL Smooth got me. Pete Rock and CL Smooth, like Troy,
Oh yeah.
and Chief Rocker by Lords of the
Oh,
Underground.
killer. Oh yeah, that'd be
Shit.
Streets Volume 2 as
Yeah,
well.
that's
those
why.
two.
Yes,
Yeah.
because like again, you got to immerse in these certain tracks, and then I think what pushed me over the edge was I used to be a bit of a skater boy, see you later boy, and I heard "You Know My Steez"
Yeah.
by Gangstar.
Killer.
And that got me. That's when I wrote my first rap. It was probably a couple of days after that. I wrote a rap to the Jump Around instrumental of House of Pain.
Dude, I've always wanted to write to that beat.
Seriously though.
Yeah, it's killer. DJ Muggs, shout outs.
DJ Muggs. Fucking hell.
Yeah, well, that's funny you bring up Chief Rocker because I heard that first when I was obviously Streets Volume 2, but I found it again in my life maybe when I was about 14 or 15. And that really got me into underground 90s because like I love 90s hip hop, but I was always listening to the more the mainstream stuff, Wu-Tang, Biggie, Mobb Deep, yada yada. But then like that got me into stuff like Smith and Wesson and OGC, and I started exploring Group Home. Like
That's exactly
Jamie
how
the
I found
Damager.
those guys too.
Yeah, Chief.
Like
Lords of-
OGC, Black Moon, I found through
shout outs
Lords.
to Lords of the Underground.
Fucking hell,
That's a
man.
killer
That's
track,
hilarious.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, let's use our group chat as like send up some of our favorite links.
Of course.
Yeah, do we have to?
Yeah.
Send it all around.
'Cause,
I want to
yeah.
hear Jean Grey.
Yeah.
for real.
Yeah, you've inspired me to go back and revisit her. I
through.
haven't spun some Jean Grey in a while.
Right.
Occasionally I'll hear her on like, singing on You Never Know by Mall Technique, and also her verse on Hold You with Master Ace, produced by Ayatollah, who's one of my favorite producers as well.
Yeah. He sings AI all the time.
Pardon?
Is he the singer?
It's Master Ace's song on his album Disposable Arts, and she has a last verse.
Okay.
And yeah, that song Hold You, I'll link you guys as well. It's killer. Master Ace is crazy as well.
Dope.
I guess we'll go for something a little bit more basic, being that do you guys have specific kind of beats that you prefer rapping on? What's your vibe? Like when you want to make music, what's your sound?
Do you have anything to say, or do you want...
I guess the sort of the Ninth Wonder shit that like Jean Grey was writing on.
Soulful?
Yeah, the soulful boom bap. That's it. That's my style, like soulful boom bap.
Yes.
Like I'm really into Nina Simone. Like
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was
Like-
playing her
oh,
just the other day, just
As a-
like
yeah.
my heart was melting.
It's a real soul.
she's like
Classic soul.
I think like her and Marvin Gaye are like the grandfathers of hip hop. Like the grandparents of hip hop.
Fuck yeah.
Like Nina Simone is hip hop.
Yes.
She is soul, but she was so revolutionary. Yeah.
She was a true personality.
Yeah, there was no on stage and off stage persona with her. It was
Yeah,
like
she
she was
was
real.
completely
When she met
authentic.
Martin Luther King, who was all about non-violent direct action, she met him and she was like, "Sir, I'm not non-violent." And he's like, "That's all right, sister. You don't have to be non-violent." She's like, "I want to get guns. I want to shoot white people."
Yeah, well, have you heard the story about her shooting the label exec? Well, like missing him, but like just to scare him. I'm not entirely 100%
That's right. She's
certain
like,
the details.
she wouldn't give my money, so I turned up with a gun, and then I got my money.
You can hear she's laughing
she
about it
just-
in the interview.
She's just dropping her nuts on the fucking table. All right, all right, Nina. Damn.
Ready to die.
Give him my money, bitch. Give him my money.
For real.
And you?
Beats. Oh yeah.
What's your go-tos?
No. Well, to be honest, like
You're a bit fluctuating.
I'll rap over anything, and I think for a long time I was trying to pigeonhole myself because that's what artists do in hip hop. You know, like they're boom bap or they're Griselda or they're lo-fi or trap, but like I love it all, and I pride myself on my versatility as an artist. Like I like being able to experiment with different things, and I like trying to improve my skill sets in each style. So to be honest, it's just whatever I'm inspired by at the time.
Hear you.
I do feel that as well. Like in the past, I think I've intentionally picked like not very good beats because it's a challenge.
Oh, the Nas approach.
That's what I was going to bring it back to. Yeah, exactly. Like if you're a writer's writer, then there's no beat that's you don't want to like challenge yourself to scribe to.
Yeah.
Nas though, like I don't like that excuse for him, to be honest. Like
I don't like that
It's
excuse
not an
because
excuse.
he's got a catalogue that's 50% bullshit. That's my only.
like that's how I feel about Stillmatic. Like I love the album, but like every second song is amazing, and then the other song is just like like my
There's
my
so
country.
many
and-
albums with one absolute gem of a track, and the
Buy
rest
my
are
songs for
garbage.
beats. It's
Yeah.
the verses you purchase.
big in the thousands. What was that?
Oh, in that album he did with Kanye West, he had a bar in it.
Oh yeah,
They don't buy my songs for the beats, it's the verses they purchase. Like he was like using he was being self-aware about this phenomenon.
Which
Yeah.
we like.
Yeah.
We like a self-aware.
Self-aware is
nuts.
good,
Yeah.
but like it's not an uncommon opinion that a lot of Nas's songs are. It's pretty crazy, right? He's globally accepted as one of the best lyricists of all time.
Yeah.
And also most people will say that half his songs are shit.
But the same thing with Jay-Z. Jay-Z is
Always.
considered the
I'd say-
pinnacle of hip-hop.
I'd say
gonna bring up
most of
Jay-Z as
Jay-Z's
well.
stuff is shit.
Garbage.
But have you guys heard their song together that just came out 5 days ago?
Yes. I heard the snippet thing. I haven't heard the full.
We should listen to it
shebang.
after this. It's different.
I saw
but it's pretty
Nas
dope.
He goes
reacting.
in. Jay-Z goes in.
Yeah.
Jay's verse.
Yeah.
I got two B's, and the B's in the back of the beat. Like, that's just hilarious. That's hilarious.
Well, it's interesting.
And then Nas with cryptocurrency bars for fucking hell. Fucking hell.
It's interesting that you bring up Jay-Z because I was about to do the same thing because I had a conversation with Mantra a few years ago, and he was saying he loved that bar from Jay-Z saying he's like, lyrically I could be Talib Kweli. So that's just kind of him. The score of that is just he can rap.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing, but he's making
I
this
think it's
stat.
More of a business mogul.
Yeah.
It's like listening to his Jay-Z's music for me. It's like a seminar on how to make money without any capital.
Well, that's what the story of OJ was, eh?
Yeah.
And yeah, because Reasonable Doubt is such an incredible album, like lyrically, and
Yeah.
the things he touches on, like I'm always go back to that album, but he proved himself. It's kind of like when painters, like stuff like Van Gogh and Picasso, master realism, and then they go into abstract.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of, yeah. But I think Jay-Z intentionally toned it down because, the smarter your rappers, the smaller your audience.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? He was aware
course.
that he wanted to make a lot of money. So like, if he simplifies it, a lot more people, and he already has the reputation. He's Jay-Z. He was friends with Biggie Smalls and whatever. Like most rap people are just going to go along with it.
Yeah.
And now it's interesting. He's got to a point where he can do both at the same time now, and he kills it. Like his wordplay now is a lot better than it was in the thousands, and but before the thousands it was a lot better in the 90s. So he's found a way to kind of like use it in like a swaggy sort of way and be really smart and stuff. And that's why like Kendrick and people are killing it right now as well. They're really good at blending those things together.
Mind you, Jay doesn't write. That's what's nuts. No, hold on. Hold the fucking phone, all right? There is behind the scenes footage of him doing, I think it's Nickels and Dimes from like an album in 2011. Holy Grail, whatever it's called. That
Okay.
one. Shit album. But he's coming up with shit. And he'll stop,
Album.
come back, record the next bar.
Yeah.
He's thinking about it. He does the Little Wayne shit where he doesn't write it. And to hear him on...
Oh, he's writing it, right?
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying, right?
Construct it
It
in
does
your
take a
brain.
level of focus and it does take a level of mastery over the craft to be able to do that with a level of structure and the intensity of the bars that come out of his fucking mouth. That's one thing I'll give Jay-Z, is dude can be a bloody lyricist when he wants to be.
Course.
Have you heard him in Written Testimony, the one with Jay Electronica?
Oh, not since it came
Bit
out.
floppy, but there's a couple songs on there where he tears Jay Electronica apart, who is prolific.
Yeah.
And that's something. And this is someone who's quote unquote washed up, right? And he's running with the best of them still.
Oh, he's never really been washed up. I don't know. Like
It's not washed up, but it's like he went commercial.
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess that was maybe the root.
He's a
of him-
part-time rapper.
he cashed in. Whatever.
He's a
him
casual
and, him and
rapper.
Nas's beef, right? Nas's like a lyricist, and
Yes.
Jay-Z's he's like the business entrepreneur, fucking role model of hip hop, which is an important role. Like street entrepreneurialism
Yeah.
is like a part of hip hop, but it's not like what the
Parker Biggie,
the
Jay
writers.
and Nas, Drake and Kendrick.
Right.
I've got correlations there just being like,
Right.
you've
I
got
think
your
J. Cole
moguls
and
and you've got
Kendrick.
your lyricists.
Crazy. I never thought of it like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
That's how I'm picturing it, at least, like just in that own way. It sort of follows the same trend with the same two people doing that kind of shit. People aiming for the top. Even Kanye and Drake at one point, that was mid-2000s.
How are we going for time? Like, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, surely we're done.
Wrap it up.
Yeah, okay.
I think we're done.
Let's wrap it.
Yeah, that was cool. This is D-Rad MC.
Yo, what up?
This is Sixpence.
This
My name is the Journeyman.
The Journeyman.
We're going to have Instagram links somewhere, I'm sure. Follow everyone. Listen to their music. Listen to Vibe Union's music. Stay tuned with all upcoming dates. Thank you all. Have a good one.
Thank you.